PEGI. They'll egress the airlock, translate along the starboard truss to the BGA worksite. That will perform that inspection first. Once they're complete there, we'll go back to the SARG worksite and then finally back into the ingress. So it's a fairly simple translation. So next slide, please, with the BGA. With respect to the BGA inspection, the investigation of the data that we have from the various RPC trips is indicative of a potential MMOD strike or potentially FOD shorting out a couple of pins out on the BGA or broom. So what we'd like to do in this EVA is perform an inspection to determine if we can see any MMOD hits. And specifically in this diagram, in this photo, the white and black MLI covering that surrounds the circumference of the BGA, we're going to be inspecting that for MMOD strikes. The connectors that you see here actually have a cover flap on top of it, and we will be inspecting that cover for MMOD strikes as well. The two cables that you see on the right-hand side of the photo, we'll also be looking at those. These cables, there's probably about a 15-foot length of those that run along the inside of the truss. So both Peggy and Dan will be taking a look at those to see if they can determine any fraying. One item that is not shown in this picture is a vice clamp that we will also be looking at as a potential source of the signatures that we are seeing. One thing to point out, we are currently performing just the inspection, but I expect by the end of the day today, the two cables that you see, we will get permission to remove those. And in conjunction with some ground commanding, we will be able to determine a little, or narrow down our fault tree a little bit more to determine whether or not the signatures we're seeing are a result of a fault in the BGA broom itself or in those cables. So following the BGA task, we'll be moving on to the SARG task. So if I could please have that video. Now for the SARG task, we will be performing most of the same tasking that we have performed on the previous sampling EVA. We'll be removing and inspecting covers, we'll be characterizing and taking pictures of what we see underneath, and then we'll be using tape to collect samples of the material that we see. We will have an opportunity, as Kirk mentioned, to use a mirror to inspect a portion of the ring that we have not seen before. And we're going to be taking samples from a number of different locations in the hopes that we can find additional evidence of different types of material than we have brought down already to help us determine the cause of the problem. In addition to, we had removed a double cover before. We're going to be removing covers on the drive latch assemblies that Kirk mentioned could be potentially suspect and contributing to the problem. We will also be removing a trundle bearing assembly and bagging that up and bringing that back home on the next shuttle mission so folks can perform some analysis on